Good morning. Who is going to win the World Cup mathematically? Well, for those of you not even know, the FIFA World Cup group stage ended today. The knockout phase is starting today, which is quite exciting. In the knockout stage, there are 32 teams competing, and in each match, only the winner continues until there's only one team left, which is the world champion. And there's also one extra match to determine third place, but the main concept is just this 32-team knockout stage. And of course, people have many opinions about who is going to win and what team has what chances to reach certain stages. And because probabilities tend to be quite confusing and especially counterintuitive, I think many people overestimate the probability of their team actually winning the World Cup. So in this video, I'm going to present you a very simple mathematical model to predict the World Cup knockout stage. It's not going to be a very accurate model, but it is probably going to give you some intuition about those counterintuitive probabilities. And the model works like this. If two teams play against each other, their strengths are compared. So let's say Germany, for example, has a strength of 8 and France has a strength of 10, then the chance of Germany beating France is the strength of Germany divided by the sum of their strengths. So in this example, since Germany has a strength of 8, it's 8 divided by the sum of both, which is 18. Which is about 44%. So based off of this very simple idea, I assigned each country participating in the knockout stage a value between 0.1 and 10, indicating their strength. And you can change these strengths on the website, but I just assigned these by asking ChatGPT because I know nothing about football and every person I asked for the strengths was more biased than ChatGPT probably. So I have these strengths and you can change them. And this website then predicts, based on the strengths you put in, what's going to happen in the knockout stage. So the first thing this website shows is a prediction of a bracket that would result if stronger teams would always beat the weaker team. If you want a fun maths puzzle, try to figure out why this bracket of a stronger team always beating the weaker team isn't necessarily the most likely bracket, given the probabilities that I assigned at the beginning. And by most probable, I mean if you were to sample 10 million games using these probabilities, what bracket would occur most often? If you scroll down a bit, you can see the probabilities of each team being the winner. And at this point, you should notice two things about this. And the first thing to notice is that even though France has the highest strength out of all teams, Argentina has a strength of 9.8 and France has 10.0, Argentina is actually more likely to win than France. And the reason for this is the tournament layout. If you look at the tournament tree, you can see that France has strong opponents early on, like Germany, and in comparison, Argentina has a lot less strong enemies. And you might say this is because France and Argentina have really similar strength values in my model, but even if I put Argentina down to 9.1, they still have a higher probability of winning than France. And let's take this to the extreme. Let's put Argentina and France at 10 and everyone else at 0.1. And now you can see that the probability of either France or Argentina winning is approximately 50-50, which makes sense because they're on different sides. But now, let's say we have another strong nation, say Germany. If Germany enters a race, suddenly Argentina is much more likely to win than France or Germany, because France and Germany are going to meet early on, and only one of them is going to survive, meaning that in approximately 50% of the cases, France is going to win, and approximately 50% of the cases, Germany is going to win, but in 100% of those cases, they're going to play Argentina at the end. And even if you set Argentina to have a strength value of 7 and the other two teams to have a strength value of 10, Argentina is still more likely to win because Germany and France are going to split their share. And the point I want to make here is that the layout of a tournament tree actually matters a lot, and with larger tournament trees, say 32 instead of 16 teams in the knockout stage, it matters more and more. Let's scroll down to the win probabilities of the teams. And the second thing to notice here is that their win probabilities actually aren't that big. Even though Argentina, France, and England are much better than the other teams, their win probabilities actually aren't that high. In absolute terms, Argentina's win probability is about 10% according to this model. And 10% means that in 9 out of 10 cases, Argentina is not going to win. Another way to put this would be, even if you had a team that was really strong, say France would win about 80% of all their games, the probability of them actually winning is quite low because they need to win 5 consecutive times in this round of 32. So the probability of 5 consecutive wins is 0.8 to the 5, which is 0.8 to the 5 is about a third. So even if France would win 80% of their games, the probability of winning would only be 30%, which again, I think is a little bit counterintuitive. And going back to the model, if you scroll down even further, you can see the probabilities of every participating team in the knockout stage reaching certain stages, which I think is also quite useful. For those of you that are interested, by the way, the website doesn't just do a large Monte Carlo simulation, but actually calculates the exact probabilities using dynamic programming. which I think is quite cool. And coming to an end, I also need to emphasize that this model, of course, isn't realistic at all. Football has so many variables and so many statistics that matter. In fact, there's an entire course at my university about analyzing football, because there's so many variables and things to track, which probably influence all the win probabilities. So this model isn't going to be accurate, but I think if you put in the right strengths, it might give you some realistic sounding probabilities of winning. Okay, thanks for watching. I highly recommend going to the website yourself and trying out your strengths that you think are right. Maybe you think that Germany is much stronger than I put it in. Feel free to test anything out. If you have any comments or ideas on what I could do, please write them in the comments. I hope you liked the video. It is unfortunately super hot in my room right now, and I have an exam coming up tomorrow, so I probably need to go. But there's a video coming up soon about QR codes, which I hope you're going to like. Bye.